Hi, I'm Maya from Bookworm Dreams and welcome to a reading vlog. So this week I'm going to try and finish reading challenges. I have 3 books I want to get to this week. So these books are not in a particular order. So first thing I have to finish is Falling Skies by Rajan Khanna. So this is a book that I have to read for the Buzzword reading challenge. This is my book for February, and if we are in March, I haven't read it yet. And this is also my book for the Aurelium year-long adventure thingy, also for February. Haven't read it yet. So this is urban fantasy about a world that has been ravaged by some kind of bug thing, and we follow a couple of people who are somehow surviving in it. Then I want to start and finish Voice of War by Zach Argyle. This is the one book I have to read for Fantasy Bingo to get bingo on my card. So yeah, this is a space sci-fi thing where we follow a young family with a baby who's like supposed to save the world of some sort. We'll see. And then I want to finish Kaikei by Vaishnavi Patel. So this is a book I'm reading for the Christinelli Awards. I am now currently 40% into this book, and I want to finish it because it's been taking me a while. So I'll first start with that one. So in Kaikei, we follow Kaikei. So she is a princess of this Indian-inspired... Well, it's not Indian-inspired. Is this historical fiction? Well, there's magic. So there's a bit of fantasy element here. So basically, we follow Kakei. She is a princess of her little kingdom, and we follow her, since the day she was born to, I guess, till the day she dies or whatnot. We'll see. So I'm at the 40% book. So she, at a young age, her mother is sort of banished from the kingdom by her father, who basically just dotes on his 7 sons and not her. And she's sort of in this position to take care of the sons, her brothers. And she secretly, learns how to be a soldier because her twin brother teaches her stuff that he learns. And she also discovers that she has magic. She can use magic to influence her relationship with others. So whenever she meets a new person and sort of forms a tiny relationship, she can see like an invisible rope or line between herself and that person. She finds that that she can sort of share her thoughts or emotions and whatnot to influence this person to do stuff for her, or to do something that's in their benefit or her benefit and whatnot. Since this is set in sort of historical India, India-inspired kingdom and whatnot, there are the Indian gods and whatnot. The position of women in this society is not very good. They're overlooked and abused and just treated horribly, which brings me a lot of frustration when reading. But we sort of follow Kaikei as she tries to somehow gain control of her life in this world that is controlled by gods and men, especially her family, because at 16 she's sent off to marry some dude. 16 or 17, I don't know. And she was very upset because she didn't get to choose or whatnot. So yeah, at this 40%, she is now sort of set up in her new kingdom and she's doing stuff. I'm not sure how spoilery I will get, but I will just say this is very well written. I am enjoying the story, the writing and whatnot. It flows, it's very great. What I don't enjoy, the feelings that it invokes in me, which is frustration mostly because of Kaikei and, first of all, her position in society because she's a woman. That's one thing. The other thing is when she moved from her kingdom to the other kingdom, basically kept failing throughout the entire chapter of her, she assumed that everyone hates her, that everyone is going to treat her worse because she comes from this smaller kingdom and whatnot. So she didn't really make enough of an effort to fit in and to do stuff. So yeah, she was annoying and it was kind of awful following her through that. But now she sort of came to her senses. There was a battle. She was a charioteer and whatnot. So yeah, she sort of came to her senses, and now we will see what happens because, at I guess soon the 50% mark, stuff's about to happen because we do find out that she's sort of forsaken by the gods. So when she prays to the gods, they don't listen intentionally, but she's also God-touched or whatnot, basically destined to do something great. So we will see what that will be. So I'll talk to you when I read some more. So it's Monday afternoon, technically evening, it's some 6 p.m. I am now at 80% of Kaikei. Oh my god, so much has happened. I have so many thoughts and feelings. My frustration still stands. with the fact that Kaikei works really hard and just is sometimes being dismissed by the men around her in the kingdom and whatnot for basically, tradition's sake. And what she is trying to achieve is just now being ruined by the gods and the men around her. Ram, the son, the firstborn son, I guess, or the son that was born by the first wife of her Raja, has the same power as she does. Is controlling people, influencing them, and so on and so on. And so he's now basically he's about to place himself on the throne to, fulfill his grand, whatever, mission, the reason he's been put on the planet for, I guess. My first thought would be that his mission was to undo everything that Kakei has done so far, so basically work for the men and not for the women of his kingdom. But it turns out that he's here to rid the world of, like, fantastical creatures and whatnot. A very costly war, a very, very unnecessary war that will just, ruin everyone's lives. And Kakei is trying to, fight against that. She's slowly losing. I don't know how she hasn't given up yet. So yeah, that really shows her strength of character. And then her father dies. Now, she and her father have not been close ever, but there was a thing that her Kakei's husband sort of promised, technically promised her, but in the eyes of man to her father, because her father was the one giving her away to get married, was that the fact that her son will be on the throne. Her son is currently not going to be on the throne and doesn't really want to be on the throne, but since the father died, before he died, he made Kakei's brother, who is now the new Raja, or was the new Raja before, promised that he would make sure that the husband lives up to the promise, which is something that, Kakei has already dealt with and whatnot. So there's a new war looming, So throughout the book, the book is now, I think, in 3 parts. And before each part, you sort of get hints of something, not cataclysmic happening, but something horrible happening, like the Great War and whatnot, and what Kakei's role in that would be. And now we see that's going to happen, and I guess it's not going to end well for anyone. Yeah, it's well written. I'm very much engrossed. I have to stop because I have to prepare for work for tomorrow, and then I have to go do other stuff. But yeah, I have, was it like 30% or something? I don't know, left, an hour and a half of listening at 2 point something speed. Yeah, I'm hanging on. It's going well. It's 1 a.m. I just finished reading Kaikei, and it is a really, really good book. It's very well written. The story is compelling, frustrating. Yeah, I don't know where I last left you. I think I talked about, what was Kakei doing? I have no idea. Well, basically, everything that has been vaguely hinted at throughout the book has happened. There is a great war brewing. Kakei had to do some things to make sure that her kingdom survives. It placed her in a bad position in relation to her other sons, her actual son, the kingdom, everyone in the court and whatnot, the husband, and just so many things have happened. And the most frustrating thing throughout the whole story is the fact that we see how women are being treated throughout this kingdom. And this is like the thing that caused me the most frustration. And when a book makes me feel things that, any kind of emotion this strongly, it's automatically it's a higher rated book in my opinion. Now, these emotions might be positive, might be negative. Anyway, I really liked it. This was the book I was most worried about reading for the Kristen Awards, because I thought it would be a difficult read, but the audiobook was very well done. The narrator did a fantastic job. It's just, it's frustrating reading that kind of a book about such a cool character who, though it's a bit at times self-centered, but, still what she has achieved in her kingdom was really, really cool. Yeah, but the frustration was always there throughout the entirety of the book, because, you have like the priesthood or like the sages treating women as shit, men treating women as shit, family members treating women as shit, and as you know, and every time you get to this point where you think that things are going to get better, things get kind of worse because one of the sons is technically being influenced by the gods, and you can't work against that, no matter how much she tries. And that's where the frustration comes from, you know, because you know everything that she works hard for will come to ruin because, you know, the gods have their own plans. But yeah, I'm glad I read it, glad I finished it, and I'm going to continue on with the next book. That's probably going to be Falling Skies. And I'll talk to you when I read some of that. So today is Thursday. Last time I spoke to you for this vlog was on Monday. Days just keep passing by. So I started reading, oh my god, what's that called? Falling something? Shit, it doesn't say the name of the book. Falling Sky? Or something? Anyway, so this is a book in which we follow a dude who lives in a post-apocalyptic world where there's like virus that killed everyone, turned them into zombies of ferals, and everybody's sort of taken to the sky, and he lives on this ship, and the book starts with him sort of working with this community of scientists, and after the main scientist chick decides that she wants to bring a live feral to their camp, he basically fucks off because he likes to stay alive. And I am now at 17%. The science community have been attacked and destroyed by raiders, and now he's on his own doing shit. I am not vibing with this book at all. I mean, the writing is kind of... The author wants us to, I think, accept too much too fast. Like in like the first chapter, we're supposed to, you know, meet the characters, sort of connect Ben, the main character, to this scientific community, have feelings because, you know, they're fighting and he leaves, and he's, you know, the character himself, he's a bit, I don't want to say whiny, but he sort of has like, it seems like he has a chip on his shoulder, and, you know, he's not very likable, or I haven't connected to anyone yet. I'm just basically, at one point I would skip reading to like see what happens, and that's not the point of this. The point is to read the book. So I'm giving it, I'm also doing participating in sprints, or at least using the sprints to read, because I have been having trouble concentrating and making myself read stuff. I mean, read my TBR. I've read 2 like smutty romances, I mean, this week, but I haven't read the stuff that I'm supposed to read because I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to use this current sprint, which are 45 minutes long, to see how far I'll get. I'm giving myself to 30% of the book. It's not a long book. When I started it on my e-reader, it says it will take me 3 hours to read it, but nothing is gripping me. I'm not interested at all. So I'm giving it one more sprint to see if, you know, my feelings will change, and then I'll decide whether or not to DNF. So yeah, that's the update. So I am now at 40% of the book, and I am DNFing it because I just don't care. So what's happened in this 40%? So Ben, the scientist that he works with, they caught a feral and they called him Alpha, and they have him trapped in like this cage to experiment on, to find out more about the virus, the bug as they call it, and to find a cure. And in the meantime, their settlement gets destroyed. Ben somehow survives and meets a friend, then loses a friend, hooks up with the surviving scientists. One of them being, one of the scientists is a woman named Miranda, and I'm not sure like if they are together or not, or were together or not. But there is something going on between them, but not like actually. It's more of a like, you know, they're prickly towards each other, and they're like, you know, I thought you were leaving us. I'm not leaving. I'm helping. You know. Anyway, it's a bit the situation between the two of them and the third scientist, who is acting like a spoiled rich boy, you know, and sort of basically he literally had a line when Ben was leaving for the first time, because they proposed this crazy idea of capturing this feral zombie thing. Like he had this line, "Don't worry, I'll take care of Miranda." I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Anyway, the writing is not there. The characters are just, I don't care about anything. I mean, I'm mildly interested in what's happening with the virus and if they're going to figure out a cure or if this new settlement that they found themselves in right now is going to accept them and whatnot. It's just, I just don't care. So I'm DNFing it. And since this is a book that I'm supposed to read for Buzzwordathon, and it's for more like Aurelium, like I can find another book for the Aurelium year-long adventure that has the prompt I have to read this for is to have something with buildings on the cover. So I think during the year I can probably read something that has buildings on the cover, deal with it that way. But now I have to find another book, or maybe just keep reading this month and figure out if during the month I will read something that will fit the prompt. And if, I think the prompt is an action word, because I remember focusing on the falling. I think the book is called Falling Sky. So on the word falling, because I have to have an action word. So I'll just go through the books that I'm going to read at the end of the month and figure out if I've read something that fits that. And if I haven't, then, it's fine. Now I'll go and try and read The Voice of War. Is that what that's called? Oh my god, I just keep blanking on names. Yeah, the book I want to finish for Fantasy Bingo Challenge. So yeah, I'll talk to you when I read some. Well, we've made it back without being rained on, so that's great. I am at 80% of Voice of War. Yes, 80%. I had a very good weekend and I spent a lot of it reading. So this book is okay. I'm trying not to spoil stuff for you. So in this book we follow a dude named Chris. Now he is in like almost 30 years old. He is a high general for the High Lord of his country, and he is famous for the previous war that he fought in which he basically murdered a bunch of people. They called him the I think that's pronounced apogee. So basically, as you find out, he has a voice in his head that tells him to go around killing people. Let me out, I can help you in this situation. So Chris is in charge of investigation in which he has to figure out who the blood thieves are. So basically in this world we have a magic system in which there are certain people who can see the threads that connect everything in this world. and they're called thread weavers. And you have like the emeralds and the sapphires, and then as you go on in the book, you find out there are two mystical, impossible ones that, of course, start appearing, and thus bringing on a big change, a very, very big change. So the way that people use these threads, they use them to, I don't remember what the difference between an emerald and a sapphire is. Something to do, both of them I think have something to do with gravity, propelling yourself upwards or using gravity to like add some force behind your punch and whatnot. There is a group of people who have been kidnapping thread weavers and basically draining them of their blood for reasons. I can't tell you reasons because it's spoilery. As you go on throughout the book, you get different points of views of different characters that we're going to meet. I think are going to be important oncoming events. I think there are like 3 or 4 books in this series. I am enjoying it. I don't know why I thought this was science fiction. I had like this idea in my head because of the tagline, which is like, our kid's supposed to save the world if only we can keep the damn kid alive, something like that. And that kind of gave me like space opera vibes. I don't know why. And this book was a finalist in the self-published fantasy blog off, so it's a fantasy book. So yeah, I am enjoying it. The writing is fun. The characters are interesting to follow. Also, Chris has a wife who, in the middle of the book, gave birth to the famous kid. And the world building is kind of fascinating because when your kid is born in this world, you have to bring it to this priesthood, whatever temple thingy, and they like uncover your eyes. It's called the rite of revelation, I think. They uncover your eyes, and then that your eye color basically tells the world whether you have power or not. And the first chapter was so brutal because we follow a couple who had their 3rd child, and you're not supposed to have 3 children. If you have 3 children, the only way you can keep your 3rd child is if that child has powers, and that child did not have powers. And the way they dealt with that is basically to use acid and put it into the child's eyes. Now remember, the child is like a day or 2 old, to erase the color, basically making it blind, so it can be part of this priesthood of this temple that you brought it to. So that was kind of brutal. But yeah, there's action, there's violence, there's magical people that lives in the trees. Yeah, it's a fun book. I'm enjoying it so far. I do have like over an hour, I think, of reading left. So when I finish it, hopefully today, I'll tell you more about it. So it's Monday evening. I finished The Voice of War, and thus finishing my Reddit Fantasy reading bingo challenge, whatever. I'm not sure if I told you what the main conflict of the book was. So the Chris who's been investigating these blood thieves basically found out that someone high up is in bed with them, and now his family is in danger, and then he runs away and meets the forest people and does stuff. Now, there are other antagonists throughout the story that we meet as the story goes on, but my one takeaway from all of this is that the antagonists seem to have various ways of getting into contact with our characters. Like, all the new characters that we meet are in some way or other influenced by the antagonists. I'm not sure how many people we are following, actually, because something happens like in the last chapter. I'm just a bit confused about how many people with yellow eyes we are following. That's like my current confusion. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was interesting. Definitely has me intrigued to read a sequel. But yeah, it was a very cool fantasy. I enjoyed the world. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed it. It was fun. So yeah, that's my reading vlog. I've read 2 things, DNF'd 1. So as I said, I finished my Reddit Fantasy Bingo reading challenge. I'm sort of stuck with the buzzword reading challenge because I DNF'd my book for the prompt in February. But I can replace that one with another book that I read in March, because the prompt for February, I think, was to have an action word. And I read a book with an action word, most of them. So I'll just pick one of them to be for February. The only thing I'm sort of stuck on now is my Aurelium year-long reading challenge thing. because I was supposed to read a book with, what's it called? Jesus. With building on the cover, and I DNF'd it. So I have to find a new one. I did find a new one, but I'm going to read it sometime later. But yeah, and I finished one book for the Chris and Nelly Awards, so awesome. If you have read any of the books that I have and you want to share your thoughts, please do so down below in the comments. If you like this video, please press the like button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. There are some links in the description box for you to check out, and that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching this reading vlog, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! And here is a parting shot of my smelly dog, who likes to finish our evening walks by bathing himself in someone else's shit. And then I have to bathe him several times because he still smells. Smelly dog.